Hello everyone, welcome to my tutorial on DOM manipulation for JavaScript web developers. So what you see in front of me here is a Jupyter notebook file in which I explain some of the keywords and some of the features that we'll be discussing throughout this tutorial. So DOM stands for Document Object Model, and basically what that is upon loading an HTML document into the browser, this is then converted to an object which is then available and can then be manipulated using JavaScript. Okay, and so we're going to be looking at how to access DOM elements. That means manipulating dynamic HTML in the browser. We're going to look at some attributes, methods, event handling, and also as a special feature we're going to be looking at manipulating some of the storage properties of the browser. So for this particular tutorial we'll be using LS Magic, and a list of available commands in LS Magic is given when you run this command, %symbol LS Magic, which allows us to define stuff such as HTML within this Jupyter notebook. So here I have a document, an HTML document, with a bit of styling for one of the paragraphs. In particular for no particular paragraph at this point contains this styling, but there's 4 paragraphs down here. There's an anchor tag and there's a button. Alright, so once I run that, this button serves no function at this point. However, that hyperlink takes me to YouTube just as an illustration, and basically what we're going to be doing is manipulating these elements within this environment by performing some JavaScript operations. So the first thing that I'm going to look at right now is how to access some of the DOM elements by using the getElementById, getElementByClassName, and getElementsBy tag name, as well as by name methods. And so let me basically just copy and paste what I have here just to show you how JavaScript would work in this particular notebook. So this little bit of JavaScript, if I run that, it's going to print, it's going to create a new element, right, which has the text hello. And if I open my console, you'll see here I have a little console log hi. So yeah, that's how the JavaScript is then used to manipulate the document. Let's look at different thing, right? We're gonna access the paragraph by ID called paragraph 1. I'm gonna change its text to new paragraph above. So right now it says this is a paragraph. Once I run that, it says this is a new paragraph. Okay, and that's quite easy. So but we can do this in different ways. Another way in which we can do that is by referring to its class name. So yeah, if I refer to it by class name, paragraph class, then it's going to return an array, and I'm going to grab the first element in that array since there is only going to be one, and I'm going to change its style and its background color to red. And as you can see, I have now changed that paragraph within the HTML document to background red. I can also do different things. I can now set the attributes as discussed above. The attribute methods get attributes, set attribute, and remove attribute. One thing I can do is to refer to the element by ID called demo, and then I'm going to give it a new class, which is an attribute to a HTML tag element, and then what it will do is it will assume this new value between the style tags, and it will apply that style by making this paragraph red. So let's see how that looks, and there you go, that's now red. Right, so another thing we can do is we can remove the attributes, and what I've chosen to illustrate here is that once this hyperlink is manipulated in the DOM, it will no longer have a href attribute for that tag. So once I run that, this hyperlink is basically broken, and while I'm trying to click on it, it does not open a new tab. Okay, so that's cool and all, but what else can I do? So another thing I can do is I can actually even run jQuery within this environment, and by doing that, I've now actually enabled the button that when I click on it, it will hide the paragraph which has a tag name P for paragraph. All of these paragraphs which have tag name P will just disappear upon clicking this button. Alright, and so as you can see, they've vanished. It no longer serves any purpose to click that button. So just to get that back, I'm just going to render that HTML code again. The next thing I would like to show you is take this link and change its inner HTML text to get the attribute href. It has now placed this link, which is hidden from the client, and it has actually displayed it in a little paragraph down below. So if I render that again just to illustrate, it says it's a paragraph, and this will be replaced by the link address once I run this command down here. So let me do that again, and you'll see exactly what I've explained appear right in front of your eyes. Okay, so something else that we can maybe do is we can do some event handling. And in that sense, I mean, when we click this button, ticket, nothing yet happened because I haven't actually instructed it using some JavaScript code. But once I copy this JavaScript code, I will now change the text of the element with the ID display. I will change that to hello world. So this text over here, actually, in fact, I think it will actually make a new paragraph down here, display. And inside of that paragraph it'll just put hello world. So that's nice and everything. What else can we do? Okay, we can also get an element by ID called display, and then instead of adding an event listener, we can remove event listener, which means that this button is no longer clickable because it doesn't actually listen to any event that occurs. I think we've covered everything that I would like to say, except for the last couple of things about the browser storage. And this is an interesting one because this allows you to keep track of storage aspects that you need to take into consideration when people visit your website, stuff like that. So I've just basically committed 2 new entries to the browser storage. So if I open my console and I type in local storage, then you'll see that there's 2 elements. The one with the key city with the value Johannesburg and key country with value South Africa, just as an illustration purpose. I can also now get the storage items. In this case, I'm getting the item called by key name called city, and that's going to return a value which is assigned to the variable city. In our case, should say Johannesburg, right? And I'm creating this new element, and its text is equals to the value that has been stored in the variable city. All right. So another thing I can do is I can actually remove an item from the local storage by doing that, for example, but this will remove only that particular item. So if I had to try and copy that code again and run that, it won't return anything because city is no longer within my browser storage. So if I go back to local storage, you'll see I only have country available to my browser. So if I go now and I want to clear all the items, I can always go and say local storage dot clear. In this case, if I run that, it'll just clear all of the content in the local storage, so I no longer have anything at all. In fact, you could see that the local storage length is 0, which means that I don't have anything in there. And so that basically concludes everything that I'd like to say about DOM manipulation. There is a hell of a lot that you could really say, but I think a lot of it is up to what exactly you're trying to achieve within your code. If you Google DOM, then you would land on a page which shows you a whole bunch of attributes and methods and stuff like that and how you could actually go ahead and manipulate this depending on your specific needs. So yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll talk soon.